Okay, so that's your...
Yeah, that's we're starting with this as simple. Right. Great. Okay, so Nishant, this is the first time we are trying this in 2020 Salon. So welcome to the first edition of 2020 Salon.
Glad to be here.
And the idea is that every Saturday or every other Saturday when we work, we get some beer and wine and drink while we work. So we said we'll get some friends of 2020 Social to come over and talk with us and hang out. And so in the morning, Ajay Jain, who's a travel author, has written a book on LinkedIn, talked about personal branding, and now it's you.
All right.
Great. Quick introduction. You've met some of the people here. Divya, Achintya, Gautam, Ankur, Freddy, and Karthik work at 2020 Social. Mayank and Gaurav have their own social media agencies. So, and some people during the talk also might walk in from outside. Yeah. Great. So, Nishant studied at DCE, like you, Mayank, and
Like
civil
Ajay.
engineering.
Like Ajay also
Like
DCE,
Ajay.
yeah.
And like Ajay, civil engineering, and then Nishant went to University of Minnesota,
Michigan.
University of Michigan, and studied human-computer interaction,
Right.
a Sapient trilogy.
Yeah, Science, Sapient, they were all the same back then. AT&T Bell Labs, SBC, Prodigy.
Great. And how many years for design for use now?
So we are now in our 5th year.
Okay. So great.
So you know what I do or what design for use.
Why don't you start off by talking about what design for use does?
So let's do that. So design for use. So we design a user experience in a very sort of that's an elevator pitch. So what we do is how do you make your products more useful, usable, and engaging? So is your product solving the right problem? Is the design? So what we emphasize is the design of the product fitting your audience, your users. So that's what we do in a nutshell.
I know only one firm like that, IDEO, is it?
Very similar to IDEO. We specialize largely on digital interfaces. IDEO does pretty much everything. IDEO is what we can probably are the best known firm in our field, and they've done fabulous work. And every designer I know wants to work with us.
HFI is...
HFI does it, but yes, but what I feel is they're more concentrated on making products usable. So they don't look at a complete picture in terms of usability is one aspect. Glass भरा हुआ है, पानी पीना है, तो आपने glass बना दिया है. But is this glass really good looking? Probably not. A Nokia phone and an iPhone probably will sound the same. So you go to HFI and say Nokia, but yes, it's working. It sounds great. You can dial a phone number. You can save your messages. You can, browse your contacts, etc. But an iPhone is a completely different, plane. The design. So that is what they're at. Design is not just about usability, but much more.
Okay. So if design is not just about usability, then what is it about? What are the things you look at?
So, like I said,
Gaurav, if I can interrupt him, how would a client know that he wants your help, and what does he or she usually come to you for?
So the two questions. So I'll address yours first. So it's about two things. I mean, sales होती है, marketing होती है. So I mean that's the kind of difference we do. If the client doesn't know you need your help, then either the client has a monopoly and you don't realize that there are competitors beating out, or has never used a product which is just fun to use. It's just you become absolutely enamored with the product. So that's all I can say. So we largely don't do sales. So what we do is clients usually say, when you start looking at the marketplace, design is what differentiates nowadays. I mean, back end, you see Wagoner, you see Alto around you, and they are pretty much the same engine. Fiat has the same engine as Suzuki Swift versus whatnot, and you said, why would you want to go towards one car over the other? It's just about emotional appeal. usability and all that, which eventually become what we call commoditized. Everything would be usable. I don't think that's going to be an issue. So what matters is, is how engaged you are with the product. And that's what, Apple does so brilliantly, and they can charge a premium for it. And, when I remember back in 2000, 2001, when they came out with iPod, they were 50, 60 music players out there. And they said, itne sare hain, there's another one, why the hell would it be successful? But it completely wiped out the market. Not because it sounded better, it was just the experience of it. What it did was take the design not just for a product level, but take it to a systemic level. I think that's what it did really.
And we're going to come and talk about
Sure.
designing
So,
ecosystems.
clients come to us largely because they feel when they say their own products vis-a-vis other products, say, something is missing. We don't know what that something is, but we know that is missing. There's a client in Gurgaon, great product, but very poor UI, and he came to the Nishan, my thing should look like Salesforce. They don't know the language lingo, but at least the sentiment is there.
Okay. So, beyond usability, functionality and desirability?
So desirability is created because of design, I would think. I don't think you can quantify it. So I think that, I've read a lot of things and it's well known. Usually design, and when I talk about design, it's a very narrow definition, M.F. Hussein's and Picasso's and Michelangelo's. That is design, but that is not solving a problem. Maybe it's solving a problem of making world prettier, so we'll leave that different. But which we're talking when I talk about design, it's about solving a problem.
The functionality.
Very specific problem कि आपको task A, B, X करना है. How should I do it? So usually I quantify design in three aspects. One is usability, very key. Second is usefulness. If there's no market, if nobody's going to use it, no matter how pretty it is, nobody will use it. So there has to be a sense of that it is solving somebody, it is fulfilling a need out there. And third is what we call engaging, which is I call the X factor, and that is where Apple wins over the other.
Okay. And
emotional connect. That is what engagement, what you call desirability, or
also
beautiful. Is it beautiful?
I'm saying the field like I'm from, which is training and HR, has instructional design also as a concept in which you're saying this is how you teach somebody so that the person is able to learn. And I was wondering, is there something in design which is used by different functional areas which is common, and what is different?
We'll come to that.
Sure.
Yeah? So I wanted to start off by saying, so you said that one you said, which is very interesting, is how do you engage people? And we spend a lot of time thinking about that. By the way, we worked on Delgo Green, and since then we have articulated our own approach to how do you design for engagement, how do you design to build a community.